Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today is Walt Mabe. Walt is running as an independent for the Shenandoah District County Supervisor's position. Once again, he's the incumbent. You've been here a couple times the last few weeks, so there's so much to talk about and willing to talk about. We have to do this a couple times, so we'll try to keep it on point this time. Last time we mentioned we were going to talk a little bit about the budget, but what's come up in the news lately is always about the library budget.
It's always about the library here lately.
So talking to Walt, I said, well, Walt, you want to talk about the library? And he said, sure, he'll do that. So what do you think?
Well, in my own opinion, and this is Walt speaking, it's not necessarily Shenandoah District, it's Walt speaking. And I don't speak for the board either, I just speak for me. I felt that I did a less than perfect disclosure for them because I had made communications with a whole lot of them and told them that I was supporting them. And I cannot tell you how much I do support the library. The way that the vote came down was there was things that coming back from back surgery, and I'm not making that as an excuse, but I missed a couple of weeks there, and there was important things that was going on that I missed. And for me, the decision to vote up or down on a budget for them, or whether they were going to be funded by the county or not, it meant for me to make a vote on a question that I wasn't sure of. So I voted against it because as an independent, I take the information that I have and I try to put that into something that is best for the community. So very practically, I will tell you without a doubt, from a library point of view and from Walt's point of view, I support the library. I always have supported the library, and I've supported the people that work there. And the way that the vote turned out, I can understand how it can be confused as something that wasn't as true as what they thought that it should be. So for that, I apologize. I hated losing Michelle Ross. Michelle Ross was one of those diamonds in the rough that was being polished very well, that was doing really good for the community and growing our library. And I'm going to miss her.
All right.
We're not going to be able to replace her easily. So I'm glad that we got the MOA signed, sealed, delivered. And was it absolutely transparent? From the way that it was put out there, the people that were trying to do it were trying to make it as transparent as they could. But when you're in the middle of negotiations, you can't put everything out there, because if 40 people or 400 people or 4,000 people are being questioned and they have thoughts on it, they're going to have 40 or 400 or 4,000 questions that you've got to answer. And what we needed to do was generate a contract between the town and the library. We did that. And we got a good one. And we all approved it. And now we're funded. They should be happy. They should be pleased that it was done. And from all of the comments that I've heard, which went from 10 to 40 a day to 1 to 2 a day, I think we did our job. And we did our job the way that an independent was supposed to do and what a board was supposed to do, and that's listen to all of the sides.
I'll say that one thing that I think the board, and again, people will disagree with the comment, which they will, but I think that, and we had a lot of letters of support for the process.
Yes.
And the board went to an extreme extent to listen
Yes.
to a lot of people. They didn't get credit for that. I don't believe. They thought that, but anyway, I do believe that the board went way beyond. This current board of supervisors have expanded their public input to allow people to vent and to get their opinions brought forth. And I think you've done a good job on that, listening. Now, they might not like the decision you made, but at least you can't say that you didn't hear it. So
That's correct. I was the only board supervisor that I'm aware of, and Zach, our county clerk, our deputy clerk, he's made the comment that says, Walt, you're the only one that actually got postcards. And I did get postcards.
Right.
I got 15, 20, 30 postcards that said, fund the library, or an extensive, I've been here forever, and I've got kids here, and I take my kids to the library. I'm homeschooling the library as part of it. It's all true.
yeah,
And I appreciated getting those letters because it's something that other supervisors didn't get. And we worked hard just to listen. And that's one of the hard parts about being a supervisor, is to take the time to make the extra effort just to sit down and listen.
right.
And we did that.
Well, I think people, this is the impression that people have, I believe, that when people show up at these meetings and they present their case, that you're going to make a decision immediately in their favor. And I can remember some previous people that were in your position have always told me, they said, yes, 30, 40 people, 100 people show up and they're having a particular issue. But he said, I always have to remember of the other 39,000 that didn't show up in the county, and that I represent those people as well, not just the 100 people or the 1,000 people that show up to a meeting. And he said, I have to consider the entire district or the entire county on it. And I thought that's a point that people don't really realize, that you have to represent all the county, not just the ones that show up in either side, regardless of the side.
Regardless, because it went from being a situation where we got to protect our kids to being the diversification of the community, to the different types of identities that people have. Republicans, Democrats, independents, you name it. There were people that had an opinion that wanted you to do something right then. And for me, it doesn't work that way.
Right. I always tell people the wheels of government turn slow.
Really slow someday.
There's a reason for that.
Right.
So that we don't make these rash decisions. Because one time, we just don't have all the information. And I noticed that in this particular case, we have federal laws, state laws, county laws, local laws, all these other things that have to, agreements and I'm going to say treaties or whatever, that you have to look at and evaluate. It's like going into a boxing match with one hand tied behind your back. There aren't a lot of limitations. We may want to do something, but we're just restricted.
Well, I want you to understand and to know, I would have loved to have done something. Maybe we didn't do it fast enough. If that's a weakness, so be it.
Yeah.
But I heard a lot of people, and I heard a lot of good comments.
Yeah.
And I think that the decision that was actually made at the end was a good one.
Yeah.
I believe the MOA was a contract that was written for the county and for the town and for the community and for the library, all of us.
Yeah. Library is a really a big asset to any community.
Yes, it is.
And I've had, even the people that are opposing it, were opposing both sides. They always had good to say about the library.
Yes, they did. No matter what, it was always good.
Yeah, the library, they thought, well, it could be done better or different, or we need to change. But as a library at whole, no one wanted to get rid of it. So,
well, one of the questions that came up to me more than once was, when are you going to just take over the library? Fact is, as a county person, or as Walt, I don't want the library. They've got great people that are sitting there doing their job every day, and they've got a group of people that are actually working with these books. And they've made decisions on how to selectively select the books, put the books on the shelves, and get the kids involved in checking them out and the parents involved. I think one of the things that we did do was say, okay, parent, it is now your time to help us control and provide the information for the child if they are ready for it and if you as a parent are ready for it. It's always going to be there.
Right.
You may not like what's in the library, but the library is there for a reason, for information.
Right. Yeah, we keep forgetting we have to go back to parental control or parental choice.
Yes.
And sometimes, well, the old saying, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. And
Everybody laughs.
Well, but now people expect the government to do everything. And
Correct.
One of the things the government can't do and shouldn't be doing is raising your children. But it seems to be going that way.
I use the term moral compass. I am not your moral compass.
Right.
I am not Mark here, his moral compass. I'm not anybody's moral compass, especially the young people that I see. I may not like what they're saying, I may not like what they're doing, but it's not my responsibility to check them.
Sure.
Now, if I know their parents, maybe I'll talk to their parents and say, hey, this is what's going on. That happens quite frequently in just what we do with the library and any other organization for that matter. But overall, not my job.
Right.
It's the parent's job. That's the first place that they get their moral compass from.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, let's look at some positive things that came out of all this. I think people are aware that we have a library.
Yes.
And that a lot of people use it.
Yes.
And I think overall, and that the library does listen to things. And again, they made some changes maybe quicker than what they would have done because, again, same time, it takes a process to get things, to change things. Like, so you don't turn a ship around on a dime,
Yep.
It takes 40 acres to get that thing turned around. And I don't think any agency is probably the same way. But I think it did focus the attention on the community to the library, that it is a gem that we have and that we want to preserve it whatever way we can and get more and make it available to everyone in our community.
And we want to make it better than
Always.
it was. And next year it'll be better than it was this year.
Yeah.
The year after that it'll be better, even better.
Right.
And as we grow with people coming into the area, one of the first things is, do they have a library?
Right.
Well, right now, just about everybody knows that we've got one.
And a good one.
And a good one.
Well, and I'm always amazed. We have the ladies from the library come in here every month and tell us all the great things that happens in the library, and their calendar is just full of stuff. I'm thinking, wow, that's not the library I grew up with. But when you look at it as a whole, you're thinking that's really a resource center for our community, and it's making things available to people that otherwise wouldn't have the resources to do that. And I think that's the important thing, is what it's doing as a whole to our community. Yeah, are there things that can be done better? Always. Everything can always be done better, but I think this time it turned out,
Well, a couple of unique things is that I saw from a library point of view is we keep some people cool in the summertime.
Yeah.
We keep some people warm in the wintertime. We don't turn anybody away unless they become rowdy or disrespectful or whatever. We try to let anybody that wants to walk into the door be part of the library community. And they might even check out a book.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that the library allows that to happen. And I wish that it could happen more in other places.
Sure.
So a library is our library, and it's our gem, and I appreciate it, and I support it.
Well, part of this all evolved out under the guise of budget.
Yes.
Reviewing the budget, which is something that you have a responsibility to do every year.
It's your money. It's my money.
Right.
It's everybody's
And
money.
so the library was not singled out.
No.
And I know that you've done that You've done it to the sheriff's, well, every department, sheriff's office and the Parks and Rec, and it's a constant process. But I think the library touched people a little closer to home than some of these other departments. But I do know that, we've been at those budget meetings and they go on for hours and hours, days and days.
And just think, after the election, the first thing that's going to start coming up is budgets.
Yeah.
And
it's a 6-month process just to review it.
It is. And we're going to see every nonprofit. We're going to see every department. We're going to talk to anybody and everybody that wants money from our county.
Right.
And we want to give, but to give, we have to get. We too, as a county, has a anticipated budget. So we sit and we try to figure out how much we're going to be able to divvy out for all of the services and that we need. Somebody come to me and say, I need 6 more people. Yes, you may need 6 more people, but which services are you going to ask the community to give up to get those people or get that equipment that you desperately need? And I understand that, but our taxes are still relatively low. And if we need to generate money, we don't have a tree that we go out in the backyard and pull money off of.
You're picking it out of everybody's pockets.
I'm picking it out of everybody's pockets a little bit at a time. And I don't like it any more than anybody else. But if we want the services, we're going to have to be able to pay for them.
Yeah, that's the line. People say, well, we want this, we want that, but then they're not willing to pay for it. So
right.
We try to hold the line. I know it's a tough job that, and we appreciate the ones that do get elected and are doing it. So the board will change. We're going to have 3 seats. Is that correct?
3 seats that are coming up and available. And everybody's right in the midst of the voting cycle
right.
and the election cycle.
Voting season.
Voting season.
Yeah, it's an election season now. It started early this year, September 22nd. So, but the election is November 7th. Which will be here like in a heartbeat. It will be here in a week or so. And but we do appreciate you coming in, talking to us. I think people appreciate just hearing from the candidates. And I got a call today from somebody who was saying, well, they were talking about, I didn't know this and that, and I didn't know they were Republicans or Democrats or independents. And, that's up to the candidate to get that message out. And
That's right.
And I don't think people understand it. Some of our districts are non-constitutional offices, so you're not going to see that R, the D, or the I beside their name. So, our local elections are supposed to be a nonpartisan, because they're local. We have to represent our community and our district. And I think it's behooves people to pay attention to election cycles because, you elect someone that's for 4 more years.
4 more years. Well, everybody knows that I'm an independent. I don't answer to any political party. I don't answer to any religious group. I listen to the people. And send me a note, I'll respond.
Right.
Send me an email, I'll respond. Send me a note with your phone number on it, I'll call you.
Right.
But, I do get a lot of phone calls every day, and I may miss a few. And I'll be the first to admit that. But if you want to get in touch with me, you can.
Right. Well, Walt, I appreciate you coming in. Again, the election is November 7th, so please vote. I think it's important that we do
early
it.
voting is still this week.
We still have a few more days left of early voting. So,
yeah.
Again.
Get out there and vote.
All right. We appreciate it, Walt. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you.